Hello, everybody. Hello, Internet. How's it going out there? Welcome to an episode of the State of Love and Trust. I'm one of your two hosts, Jason Kerepesi, and alongside me, as always, where is he? There he is! Who is it?
It's not Santa, I'll tell you that much, but it is Paul, and it's lovely to be here.
Well, guys, if you didn't know, we are live, and now you will know for sure because we've got a live bug in the corner. Look at that. It's all happening. Anybody who is currently watching on YouTube, you guys really should do us a favor and like and subscribe to the video and the channel and the bell for notifications. And Paul, if they're listening on the audio only on demand later, what should they do?
Well, they should rate, review, and subscribe on their preferred podcast platform of choice. Feed that algorithm like a reindeer. Let it fly. We need it. You need it. Tis the season, is it not? Tis the season.
I mean, you're very. I can't. There we go. You're very Yuletide back there with your Christmas tree.
Oh, there we go.
I love it. Well, we've got the tour recap happening now live on YouTube and Facebook. Hello out there, Internet, podcast land. We've got a couple of stalwarts of the road with us in just a moment, but we have a little bit more housekeeping to get through. We'll be very fast with it. We do these fundraisers each month, Paul.
Yep.
And it is December. It's a new month. So that means we got a new fundraiser, and it's Toys for Tots. Paul, we got to give the kids a good Christmas. Don't you agree?
No question. They deserve it.
They deserve it. So help out Toys for Tots. Scan that QR code on your screen right now, or tap the link in our Instagram bio. Donate a few bucks. If you donate $5 or more, Paul, what are they going to get?
Yeah, I think some stickers. What do you think? Huh?
Stickers and pins.
Some pins.
Incredible. The biggest donator, by the way, here's the carrot. The biggest donator this month for December for Toys for Tots, they will get an Eddie Vedder prize pack. It's Eddie Vedder's birthday month. So December 23rd, his birthday, turns 60 this year. My goodness.
Yeah,
so
it's the season of giving, but sometimes when we give these away, I wish it was the season of taking, because these are some buttes. It's a butte, Clark.
It's a butte. Well, also, if you want to be beautiful to the show and support this show, Patreon is the way to go. Lots of really cool extra stuff, but also a wonderful community that we have over there on Discord. Mm-hmm. And one of the cool things we do offer there as well is a giveaway each month. Last month, Brad won this. I Am No God by Stip and Brandon Rector. And
requisite reading on the shelf of every... I said requisite reading.
Oh, absolutely.
Requisite reading, yeah.
I will say this month in December, the Patreon giveaway is this. Oh,
requisite listening.
Day. Black Friday, a little wreckage, a little Waiting for Stevie, sold out in most places. And you know what? We'll throw in for the price of On the House a Dark Matter set.
Oh, look at that.
Let's get wild. It's a season of giving. 2 days of Hanukkah covered. So that is that. Last bit of shilling. We do have a brand new online store, guys. If you want to support the show a little bit more, get some cool swag, some cool merch, scan that code. And this is how we can reinvest in the show and give you a lot more cool stuff. So go ahead and scan that code if you want to get a new hat, or you got one of those. Look at that Raglan, that new full grunge jacket, Raglan.
I love these cool designs. You can show some love to the fantastic artists who contributed. To
Andrew Taylor,
yeah,
did the new stuff, and Karen Tigerson did the old stuff. So there you go. It's in the bio as well. Okay, enough of that. Let's get to the heat of the meat. We're gonna tour We're going to tour the recap of the tour. First up, our first guest. He's new to the show. He's a rook, but he has been on the rail in the camper line, putting out all kinds of great content. Web designer by day, Instagram guru by tour. It's Jaco van Heerden.
Hi, guys.
How's it
It's a
going,
pleasure
man?
to have you, Jaco.
Good. Yeah, I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Coming to us live from Regina, is that right?
Yeah.
Saskatchewan?
Regina. Yeah,
Is it
it's
Regina?
pronounced Regina.
I
Yeah.
always mess that up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
It's
don't
pretty
worry.
cold here.
Is it cold?
Oh yeah, it's super cold right now. Yeah.
I saw Calgary had a lot of snow.
3 feet of snow in our backyard. So
How do you deal with it?
I don't know. You just gotta.
You make
this is
yourself
why-
a
this
hot
is why we
toddy
have
and
to
you
tour.
join us on State of Love and Trust. That's how you deal with
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Well, you look cozy. I'm glad you're not in the snow. Joining us from Austin, Texas, a returning champion. Again, daytime doing the bills and paying the bills and family man and working as a program manager. I think he told me a program. He's nodding in the green room, but he takes the photos, he edits the photos, he collaborates with you, the people out there. It's Shihan Pereira from Concert Pants. He's back again.
Hey, good to be back.
Shion. Good to have you as always.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, I almost forgot one very important bit of information. If y'all out there want to donate to a great cause and get the entire Pearl Jam catalog on vinyl signed, go ahead and do that. Go ahead and scan that bad boy and donate a few bucks to win the Fandium.
Hold on. I'm scanning as
Are
we
you scanning?
speak.
Okay.
Yeah,
we are actually
nice.
eligible in this. We're eligible.
That's a giveaway we actually
The other stuff we're not eligible
participate.
for. So scan that if you want to win a signed discography on vinyl. If not, no big deal. Okay.
Be pretty sweet.
So let's get to it, gentlemen. I will say in full disclosure that we're going to have Crystal Gans with us. Crystal, another veteran of the road, had a bit of a pet emergency just a couple hours before we had to go live here. So if we're lucky, we might get her when she gets home, but we might not get her and her expertise and her stories. But we have great storytellers here with us right now. So let's just get to let's get to it, guys. And by the way, anybody who's watching online, go ahead and give us your comments and your questions. Get in the chat, get in the comments, and we'll answer some of them as we go along. Okay. I feel like every tour is a bit unique. There's always something a little bit different from tour to tour, even from like the 2022 tour to last year's quick run along the spine of the country.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys make, and Jaco, let's start with you. What do you guys make of this tour and how it's unique?
So I guess it's like personal too, hey, like the experiences that you have. Like for us, obviously this last leg of the tour, the Australia part of it, New Zealand, that was super unique because I've never traveled to Australia or New Zealand. But yeah, like for Aaron and I, like it's been like a progression, like since we started going to shows together in 2013, like it's just like we're just like getting more immersed in it, and the energy, like it depends on the people that we're with in the queue, all of that stuff. Like Xi'an, when I met you in what was it, 2022,
Yeah.
Austin, like that crew that we had there was just fantastic, right? So you're like, they're all, and then you build on those friendships. So like each tour just gets better as it goes on, because you just start to get to know these people better, right? So that's what makes it more unique for me. Like it's just always better than the previous tour.
Shihan, you agree?
Oh, I totally agree with that. Yeah, I'd have to say for me, what made this tour unique, the first thing that comes to mind is just the addition of the screens. There's no there aren't people at the back of the stage anymore. There's
Right.
now this entire show going on behind the band, which I think also evolved. And I mean, you guys had Rob on the show, right? So you've talked a lot about it and like, learned the ins and outs of it. And so have all your listeners. But yeah, I think even as it went on, like having seen the first shows I saw on this tour were in LA. But by the time I saw them at the Garden, he was doing a lot more stuff with the crowd's faces on the screens, and like the band members, you'd see like 7 instances of a single band member, and the way that crowd was able to interact with the screens. Like now you even see pictures. A lot of the pictures people are posting
Yes.
You
are
were
of
posting some.
themselves. Yeah, sure. Like of
Look at me on the
themselves,
rail.
huge, like on the screen, and like I think it made everything smaller. And I think, it was such a good use of putting screens behind a band where none of us could have ever fathomed that ever happening, like
Yeah.
the whole thing about people at the back and the way the band interacted with the back, and they were so minimalist, they never needed to do anything like that. I was very curious as to how that would work out, and I think it worked out extremely well.
Speaking of working out, let's talk about campers, guys. How was the camper vibe different abroad versus here in the U.S.?
So I guess like when we were in Australia just now, like a lot of people that were camping out that were Australians, right? So some of them have gone, like Jason Milsom and his wife Nicole. They've been to lots of US shows, so that felt like very familiar. And some of the people that some of their friends like seemed to like, it also felt like there was some of their friends or people that they knew, like Australians that had camped out before, like, but somehow I missed them at previous shows, so they kind of knew the drill. But there were also some local Aussies that were just coming for their second or third show or whatever. Like they've only seen Pearl Jam play in Australia, coming to camp out, and it was good. Like, I mean, it's it really, it's not hard. You just show up and you put the time in, right? And you pitch a tent and you hang out. Like,
It's simple on paper,
there's nothing
Jaco.
to it.
It's simple on paper, but like there is a commitment, and I wonder, because I want to get Shihan's take on this, because I think Shihan, you started your first like overnight or early morning in LA, right?
No, in Missoula.
Wait, no, you were
LA,
out
LA
early
was an
and-
early morning. Yeah,
Early
I've done
morning,
the early
yeah.
mornings a lot. My first camping was Missoula.
Sure. There is
Camping on the streets of Los Angeles, Shihan, is dancing with the
move.
devil in the pale moonlight, my friend.
We did
They were
that.
doing it.
In the
They were
moonlight.
doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, we camped in LA.
No, but so okay, and I want to get Shihan's take on this, but real quick, since you did do the GA line and wait in multiple countries, I've heard from some people that those people can be different in different countries. They can act differently. There are some people who feel very much like seniors with freshmen in line. There's some people who are very much just like, come on in, let's do this thing. Do you get a sense, like, because you said people in Australia, a lot of people who went to these shows, they haven't seen them in 10 years or longer. Yeah. Maybe it's their first show, Was there a different vibe in those lines versus the lines in America where you have a lot of similar people?
Yeah, a little bit. Like, I mean, it's different when you show up in a line and you get there and you already know because usually the campers that are there like 2-3, like, okay, 2 days ahead of time or whatever. Those are usually the usual characters that you'll see, especially in the States, right? Because in the States, people have more access to the shows. Like, they're able to, they don't have to travel to Europe and all these places, so there's more people camping out, and you'll usually see the same faces. So when you get there, it feels like almost like English is my second language, but almost like a homecoming. Like, you see like familiar faces. You're happy to see everyone. Versus with Australia, when we would get to some, and you also don't want to camp out more than you have to, right? So you kind of try to talk to everyone and say listen, let's not start camping out, because if we start now, we have to camp the whole 3 days, right?
So there's a conversation.
There's a conversation amongst the people that are there, and it's very casual, but when basically at the end of the day, if someone wants to start the line, it's their right to do it. Doesn't matter who they are, doesn't matter how many shows they've been to. So in Australia, that was the case. There were people that haven't seen Pearl Jam in 10 years. They don't care about sightseeing and doing other stuff. They want to see Pearl Jam. And that's also why Aaron and I are at the shows. We don't care about the countries that we go to. We're there to see Pearl Jam. But so we're fine with it. But at the end of the day, they'll just they'll start the line, and once the line starts, then it just starts, so then you start camping. So it's a little bit different, the thing is, there are these unspoken rules, but I want to use that language like carefully, because I don't want to make it seem like there's like this sort of control over it. It literally is something that is constantly moving, and every time there's a line, or every time you get to a venue, the people that are there kind of amongst themselves, they sort of govern themselves, and they like figure it out, and some people are more comfortable with leadership roles and others aren't. Like I myself am not comfortable with that type of role, so I always will pass it on to someone else. Some people will always sometimes it feels like people will expect me to sort of take that role. I don't know if it's because I'm tall and have a beard and I'm 43, but I mean,
Follow the Viking.
I feel like a 16-year-old, I should not be in charge of anything. So, but my point is just, it's very fluid. And yeah, like Australia it was overall fantastic. There were obviously a couple shows, like the night 2 Sydney, night 2 Melbourne, where it wasn't 10 club shows. So we still camped out because we love camping out. Like it's nice sitting with other fans for 2 days and just chatting and getting to know them. That's what it's all about for me. And so even if we knew that we were going to camp out and not have a chance to potentially get in before someone else, because like if it's a 10 club show, they'll take you in a little bit earlier, etc. Those are some of the perks, being a member of 10 Club, right? But with those, with Sydney night 2 and Melbourne night 2, there were 2 entrances, so two entrances into the Golden Circle, the GA, the front part of the GA, and we knew it was going to be a crapshoot, but we still did it because it's still fun. And yeah, those shows were a little bit weird because one gate would open up before the other one, and so there'd be Aussies, and not just Aussies, but people that showed up in the morning, let's say at like 10 o'clock or even 6 o'clock or something, that sat out all day, completely ill prepared. Like they don't have chairs or nothing. Like when we're doing it, we have all of these things, so it's very comfortable. So there would be people that were camped out and camped out for the day, and then their gate didn't open up and another gate would open up, and so they felt like that was unfair. And I agree, like that type of thing, but you have no control over it, and people would just
tricky because
run.
if it's not a 10 club show, you don't have the control, right?
Yes, and like 10 club fans, sorry, and I'll just end it here, but one thing I will say, like when you go to these shows, 10 club members, and generally speaking, like Pearl Jam fans that are in the pit, I know the first time I went into the pit in 2013, I felt very intimidated. I felt like an imposter. And people were just so welcoming and friendly and all that, right? And they respect your space. Like, and I know the band doesn't want, it's all about safety, right? They don't want people getting trampled. In the Oz tour, it was so hot at some of those shows, people were passing out left, right, and center. So it's like very important that we don't like, move on top of each other and be too tight and all of that stuff. But on those shows that were not 10 club shows, people were just running in and jumping over the fences and stuff. It was complete chaos. So like those shows were a little bit different, but they also, on the other hand, feel like a rock show. Like somehow that feels like a rock show. Yeah.
They undo the thing. It's like Black Friday.
Yeah.
Shihan, did you feel like an imposter when you were at your first line and all that stuff?
Well, do you mean when I got in the line earlier, or when I camped out for the first time?
Both. I mean, because like
something specific to the line.
Because the LA thing, you went out like what, 5 a.m., 4 a.m., something like that.
4:30 in the morning.
And then Missoula, you were overnight.
Yes, Missoula, I was overnight. So I got in line like basically 1 p.m. the day before.
Were in either of the situations did you feel like an imposter?
No, I don't think so by then, because as Jaco said, right, like we met in Austin in 2023. I'd been talking to a lot of folks about it and kind of asking for advice on what to bring and kinds of things like that. I've seen, and Jaco said it perfectly too. Like every single place is different. Like you don't know how the venue staff is going to react to you. You don't like you get these emails all the time that say there's absolutely no camping allowed 48 hours before the thing, but like kind of never comes to fruition, right? But like every time you kind of expect that maybe it will too. So like I had kind of prepared. I was thinking, okay, maybe we'll all be parking cars along the sidewalk and sleep in the car, but keep like kind of maintain the line that way. But it was like, no, like you've got to pitch a tent, you've got to do something else like that. So I was learning, and in that way, I wouldn't say I felt like an imposter. I felt very taken care of by the people who knew what they were doing. But I did feel very much like a rookie, and just kind of looking for advice all the time.
And now you're a savvy veteran.
Well, I've done it once. I've still only done it once. I've done the lineup like very early in the mornings many times, and I've gotten like to the second row. I've gotten to the row behind rail many times, and that's actually also how I met Jaco and like a lot of the folks who are on the rail. So yeah, I've done that many times, and a lot of times I think it works out well for the bang for your buck kind of thing for me. But yeah, I had to try it out once, and it certainly won't be the only time.
Yeah, bang for your buck, like that extra day that you're camping out, like you don't it makes a 6-inch difference basically. So when you think about it like that, it or like a 12-inch difference, right?
Yeah.
You're increasing your odds of being like just one person ahead.
And it depends on the venue too, because Paul will tell you, when we went to see them in 2022 at the Forum, we strolled in at like 8:15 and got second row in front of Stone.
Yeah.
It just depends.
I'm happy with that. I'm happy with row 7 too. Like when we first started going to shows, Aaron and I, the goal was never for me personally to get like as close as possible to the rail. Mm-hmm. Now, if you've ever seen Aaron, like she's, I don't know, like just
Aaron's your wife, by the way. Anyone who's wondering.
Yeah, she's this high, so like she basically just barely sees over the rail. So it's different for her. Like I don't mind standing right behind her, but then the crowd starts to move, and before you know it, I'm like 4 or 5 people gone away. And she, like for us, like going to these shows, we want to be together. So, but yeah, like you don't need to spend a night camping out to have a good experience anywhere in the pit. Like here's the one thing I will say about a Pearl Jam show. I feel we are all super fortunate to be able to watch this band live. Like to me, being able to watch the best band on earth live is a privilege, and anywhere in the house is better than not being able to see them live. Yeah. Anywhere in the pit is amazing. And then from there on, it's just something like, it's just like a progression, right? Like for us, it's like the goal was never to really like sort of like work our way to it's just like I said, it's the camping part. Like like when we started actually overnighting, our whole Pearl Jam experience completely changed, because that's when we like really start bonding with the people around us. You do bond with the people if you show up at 10 o'clock in the morning, day of show. What I love about going to a Pearl Jam show is there's always a queue. And when you go sit next to a random person that you don't know, especially someone like me, I'm very shy, actually. People are always shocked to hear this, but I'm very shy. And like when you go sit next to a random person, what I love about that is you immediately know you have something in common with them. Mm-hmm. And so you can start talking to any person, regardless of politics or this or that, right? Now, mostly politics, we're all on the same page for the most part. But, you meet people that are from diverse areas of life. And that's what I love about going to Pearl Jam shows. That's also why with my content, and Xian and I talked about this, part of the reason why I started making content was kind of to also show him kind of what I thought should be the perspective to take. And I think it's very important to focus on the fans and this whole thing. There's an entire ecosystem around Pearl Jam, like a universe that we're all sort of part of, and the fans are like a very big and interesting part of it for me. Like I love the fans. Like I know you guys get really into the music and all of that, and sort of how many times this has been played in that, and that is definitely very interesting. But yeah, for me but you don't have to put a day or 2 in. Like you definitely don't have to, and if you choose to do it, then you're welcome.
Well, let's talk about the fans for a second. I'm sure you guys have noticed that there's a lot more children, a lot more kids at Pearl Jam shows than I think any of us were used to 10, 15 years ago.
Mhm.
And I think part of that could be contributed to its fan base growing older and having families, obviously, but also to the joy of wanting to share that communal experience with their children and add to the Pearl Jam community in that way. How do you guys think it changes the dynamic for the band and the dynamics of the performances?
I guess personally for me, I don't think it has, and I hope it hasn't actually. I mean, I think the influx of families within the band has changed the way the you know the lyrics that we're hearing now, because we're hearing more lyrics about family and life, and kind of a new lust for life, if you will. But no, I guess I haven't noticed kind of Eddie seeing lots of kids in the audience and then just kind of saying, "Oh, we better tone it down." And I certainly don't think that's what any parents would want in terms of bringing their kids to a show.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm my gut is saying I don't think it's affected it. I think it makes them happy, but I don't think it's affected the set list or the energy at all.
I was wondering
Yeah, like
about. Go ahead,
go ahead.
Yako.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I don't think I would have thought that Eddie would tone things down per se because he's still dropping F bombs all over the place.
Yeah,
But it
exactly.
feels, if it's even possible, what I have noticed personally is that when I see that there's more kids,
Mhm.
and Paul and I both brought our oldest to their first
Ah,
concert and Pearl Jam concert
jealous.
at the same
Amazing.
night at Ohana.
Yeah,
At
that's
Ohana.
awesome.
It feels like there's almost the bond between the band and the audience feels even stronger because before you've got these guys who are they're older than a lot of us, but they didn't really have the kids. Maybe their kids were super young, and we didn't have kids yet, and other kids are
Mhm.
getting older, and now we have kids too, and some of ours are getting a little bit. Now there's a little bit more that bonds us, you know. Before it was, Eddie's writing these songs or Stone's writing these songs, these lyrics that we feel an attraction to. We feel something that happens in our lives. But now there's also this camaraderie of family that I don't think was as prevalent before, and so it just feels to me that there's more that binds us
I could see
between
that.
that's in the stage.
I could
That's
definitely
what I
see that
think.
within the crowd, right? And so and
Yes,
I'm probably a bad person to give the opinion right now because I still haven't brought my kid to a concert, right?
for
To a
shame,
Pearl Jam show.
Shihan.
But my oldest is 5, right?
Bad dad.
But
It's
yeah.
I waited until my oldest was 10. So
There you go. There you go. I don't want to. I really considered in Austin. I considered like buying a suite or like something, but no, we didn't end up doing that. But I would have to say, ask me, when I'm walking out of the show after the first time taking my son, I might be like, people were ridiculous. People were crazy. I had to protect him. Maybe that's what I would think after like having my own child at the show. But to your point too, I mean, amongst the crowd, like I remember at Missoula, there were a couple of kids not too far away from me, and I was kind of watching out for the parents too and offering to help, and I brought them like waters and stuff when I went out and got stuff too. So you're right about that kind of camaraderie. Maybe there's more of that now since we know what another parent with a kid at the show might be going through and need help or something like that. So
Look at this right here from Mick. Took my kid to his first concert, Sydney, because of how good the Thursday Sydney show was with kids, and now he's another generation of Pearl Jam fans.
and that's it, right, Jason? It's that
Yeah.
the generations of Pearl Jam fans that extend beyond. I mean, you listen to bands like the Beatles, Led Zeppelin. There will come a time, as sad as it is, and as much as we don't want to think about it, where you can't see Pearl Jam live anymore. But
Yeah.
young generations of people who have the opportunity to see them live will become lifelong fans despite that. You know what I mean?
And here, Mick continues, by the way, with another comment. He got inspired. His son got inspired to pick up his guitar and try to
look at
learn it.
that. Love
The
that.
connection between the music and the band, the people, the crowd, were made at the show.
It's something I've
Yeah.
heard a lot about the Australia shows, that there were just so many kids at the Australia shows, more than so. Yako, I'd be interested to know from you, like,
Yeah.
did it seem like a lot more kids were at the Australia, New Zealand shows than Europe or the United States?
Yeah, like in hindsight, there were more kids like in the sort of like in my line of sight, like on the sides and stuff. And I actually even had a couple clips with like kids in there, and but it didn't feel to me like there was a lot more. Like maybe, you know, like it didn't feel weird, like it didn't feel like odd
Yeah.
that there was like a bunch of kids in the pit or anything like that. Like it honestly, one thing I will say, and maybe there being a few more dads with their kids and stuff in the pit, maybe this contributed to it. But the energy at those Australian shows and even the New Zealand shows was like off the charts. It was so you guys know how good those Philly shows were, like Philly Night
Oh yeah.
One, the
Night one
energy was
especially.
just unreal. To me, Australia, the shows, like there was just such a positive energy around. I don't know if it's the Australian people
Love that.
or whatever it was, but yeah, like it all, and so for me there was nothing negative about seeing kids around or whatever, you know, like I think it's all good. Like I actually think you know, like just talking about like Ed and the band and like sort of where they are in life, like it would be weird if there weren't kids in the pit, you know. Do you know what I mean? Like it'd
Yeah.
be weird if there was like a bunch of dads there that didn't think to bring their kids. Like I would want
I
to do
love it.
that. If I had kids, I'd take my kid to a Pearl Jam show. Why not?
Dude,
You
I
know?
saw
Yeah,
I saw
definitely.
a guy, a dad, bring his kid who must have been 6 or 7 to the Metallica show
Yeah.
2 summers ago, and I was like,
Nice.
yeah, yeah.
So,
Nice.
in some respects, I get it. Like, but you're doing it for you at that point. Like, you want that memory of bringing your child to
Sure.
that show, and that's not a bad thing. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
there's a difference between bringing a child who's a little older, like some of you were saying, when you get that new generation of fan kind of a deal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But like if
Yeah.
they're really into it though, like Paul, we talk about how our oldest like ask for songs.
True.
Mhm.
So it's not like I'm just dragging the kid to his.
Yeah.
Look
Yeah.
at you with your segues. We should get into some of these songs, shouldn't we, Jason?
We should.
Oh.
We got a couple of. I'm gonna give you some stats, some real quick stats before we get into the heat of the meat here. So here we go. We got 37 shows across 24 cities, 3 continents. I will say, New Zealand is technically a part of Australasia,
Australasia?
Yeah, Australasia.
which is actually a region because continents are defined by continuous land. Fun fact.
Interesting.
So
Okay.
there's that, and then for as far as songs go, you've got 139 unique songs, about 24 per show, and the 2 live debuts, Whale Song and Grammy at Ohana.
Yeah, man. Oof.
So, and how cool is that?
Yeah.
So let's
Well,
get into it.
technically, isn't it 13 live debuts on this tour?
13. Oh, for fuck's sake!
All
All
the
right,
songs.
all
on
right,
Dark
all right,
Matter.
all right. Well, no, it would
Come
be
on, right?
it'd be 14
Okay, yeah.
if you want to count all the Dark Matter. All right, so Dark Matter. Which of those songs popped the most for you guys?
For me, Upper Hand is like the best song on that album, but like I just think like Wreckage is so good. Setting Sun, like as like when they started playing the Dark Matter songs, like when the tour started and they were ending the sets with Setting Sun, that was just amazing.
I loved it.
Although once they kept doing it, it kind of got a little bit like, you know, but from a perspective of someone that goes to a lot of shows, it's sort of got, you're like, you start to expect it. But yeah, no, this new album, sorry, I don't want to keep talking because this is you guys, your territory. You guys I want to hear what you have to say, but I will just say one thing about this new album. It plays so well live, and I always say that Pearl Jam is a better live than recorded for me personally, because I you know, like I like seeing them live, but this album plays so well live. And when I first heard it, you know, like we saw it in a theater and there was just a black screen and I loved it. And then they showed the visuals and that, so and the lyrics, and it sort of took something away from me. I kind of felt like the visuals felt like like a 90s screensaver or something. Now I get it. I now realize that it's actually an artist that was doing all this light art, and it's a bit cooler now that I have that context in mind. But like seeing the lyrics, like almost like a karaoke or whatever, you know, like to
Subtitles,
me that was a little bit off, because I've been listening to Pearl Jam since I was like 14, and there's still songs that I don't know what the lyrics are, and I like that because it allows my brain to interact with the song and sort of I can make it my own, right? And so as soon as I played that album in the theater with the lyrics, it took something away from me. But then after that, seeing it live, I was just like, holy shit, this is a great album.
So Upper Hand for you is your
One last thing I will say, and hopefully one of the band members is watching this. That intro of setting of Upper Hand, they need to play that for like 5 minutes. It needs to like just keep building, and like Ed's guitar should just like start to like, you know, it's like struggling to break through. And yeah, anyway, great song.
They got to have Simon do the volume pedal so that when he comes in, it just doesn't like smash. It slowly ramps up. Because you know Ed's not going to do a volume pedal by himself. He's too analog.
Yeah.
From like guitar nerds, Shihan, what do you think? What song or songs pop the most from the album?
So I mean, Yako got my favorite song from the album, which is Upper Hand. But for me, the song that popped live was React Respond. It was not one of my favorites going in, but when I saw it live, I was just like, boom, what the heck was that? And I saw that Stone Riff, you know, just commented over there live on this thing too. And even more so fitting that it's Stone Riff, because Stone himself on React Respond,
Pete.
I mean, all of that dancing going on and just like feeling it so much. He said on Pearl Jam Radio, right? Like his riff is basically an open E string, and he loves when it's that simple, and it showed, and it was just everything about it was great. And yeah, that the question was what popped. That one popped for me, like absolutely.
Paul, what song popped for you?
I would say Waiting for Stevie really popped. I mean, obviously, you know, Wreckage pops. That song's beautiful. And I mean, you know, we'll start getting into stats in terms of which songs they really, really played off that album, and which ones didn't get nearly as much love as maybe we would have liked. I thought Running sounded really good live. Really enjoyed that one too. So the whole album does. I mean, you know, we talked about this with Stip. I mean, this album was made to play live.
Yeah. I like I think I'm one of the few people who, upon first studio listen, really enjoyed React Respond. You know, Paul and I kind of differed on our rating of that song. I think it really comes alive live, and I think I was hoping that Setting Sun would, and I was very pleasantly confirmed in that fact. I think it is the most grand, like the way that it opens up is everything, and I think the way that Wreckage comes in from the final band break, and it's just the guitars, that whole thing, and it just opens, and you see the wave crashing across the Rob Sheridan screens. Those two moments for me, I think are the most, the biggest, the best live interpretations of any of the songs, although they all sound, like you said, really good.
Yeah.
Let's do, how about this? Which of the older songs really popped off the screen and popped off the stage to you? Maybe something that always has, but had a little extra juice this time. Maybe something that you kind of didn't really think was as special before, but really came alive this time around. Anything come to mind?
If I can go hop in here real quick, I'll say something that I've actually been thinking about a lot lately since this last tour is Better Man. Okay, and so we all know that song is not a love song, and that it's, you know, about abusive relationship and someone sort of like, you know, a woman like just, yeah, you know, being in this relationship and all that. But the thing is, the irony of it is like, and you really saw it in Australia too, like everyone sort of like loves that song as like this love song. It's like this song where if you're with your partner, like you look at each other and you know, rub shoulders and stuff and whatever, you know, like little kiss on the head type of thing. But what I noticed on tour, or what I noticed lately, and maybe this has been going on for a long time, but I just didn't pick up on it, is like Ed sort of like acknowledging the fact that this is not a love song, but sort of embracing it, that it has become this like love song. So like I love how they play Better Man these days, or at least how I feel when they're playing it. Like initially I feel like quite like it feels heavy to me and like negative, or not negative but sad, like sort of realizing what this song sort of is about. But then as it gets through the middle and it just carries on, it just becomes this like celebration, and like in Australia, that whenever they played Better, that's why I recorded a clip of it, because I was like, I always I'm always looking for the deep cuts as well, just like you guys are. And sometimes with some of these tracks in years past, I'd kind of be like, Better Man again or whatever. But I've started to also embrace the fact that when there's a song like that has got a life of its own now, it doesn't matter what the original intent with it was, it has now got a life of its own, and everyone knows the lyrics, like everyone, or at least everyone sings along. Okay, whether they know, like clearly they don't know the lyrics because
or they know the lyrics, they don't realize what they mean when they're singing.
Yes, okay, but everyone sings along, and that's one of the reasons why I'm saying this Australia tour had such good energy. Is they played a lot of like crowd pleasers, but it was really good because those one thing that I don't know if you guys realize this, and I know you know this, but I don't know if you realize it. The stadiums or whatever that they were playing in were massive. Like, right. I don't know if you've been to a cricket field. It's massive.
They're not. They're like circles, aren't they?
Yes, they're massive. And there was like 50,000 people at these shows. When 50,000 people are singing Better Man or Alive or Black, it's different. It hits different than if you're like at a concert with like 18,000 or 20,000 people. Yeah. And because they played those crowd pleasers, like sometimes the set list felt a little bit similar to me, like going into the shows, like they were playing like Even Flow and Evolution and all these songs, like it felt like they were playing them all the time, but it was actually a really good thing and it made it feel really good.
Stone Riff pointed this out, as I think we're all thinking it. Alive has had that change, or had that change many years ago, where it became a communal thing.
Yeah.
So I wonder if Better Man has kind of had a fulcrum kind of banged into it, where it's like, the verses are this shitty story, and the meaning of Can't Find a Better Man is sort of negative, but then when we flip it around, once we hit that second chorus and the outro is maybe she does, and it becomes ironic, or to your point, Jaco.
Jaco, exactly to that point. I mean, Better Man is usually a celebratory song for me, and I used to play it in a cover band too and everything. But I had a really, really uncomfortable moment with Better Man at Ohana because I was second from the rail and watching Eddie's mom the entire time.
Oh,
yeah, that is
wow.
Who the song is about.
Yeah.
And so like through like the first verse and everything, like I was really watching her the entire time and realizing like that song was written for her, and like she's right there on the side of the stage, and like she was jumping around and really loving it, and it was a beautiful thing to watch. But it like really I felt that song in a way I had not felt, in any previous show.
Yeah,
I would agree.
Yeah,
with
that
you.
would be
just
interesting.
being there and seeing that.
Yeah,
and they had her on the screen a number of times.
I think we actually talked about that, Paul, in the moment. Like, isn't it weird to have your mom there when you're singing Alive?
There's a part. There's a part in Save It for Later when he did the tag, and he did like it talks about his mother, and he pointed to her then. But I was like, good thing he didn't turn around and look at her like during the intro or anything like that. But yeah, that it brought that dimension back for me in a big way.
Yeah.
What songs were conspicuously absent? What song did they not play or not play enough of for you? It's been a long year since May 4th.
Well, one song that I've been chasing for a long time now is Sad, and I've been calling for
the
Sad.
Two of you.
Yeah.
And it was funny, and Ed keeps like teasing. I've noticed this, like at shows, he keeps teasing every now and again. He'll say something, like almost like drop a clue, and you go, "Oh man, they're gonna play this next or whatever," and then he just like completely goes a different direction. But he literally said, someone had a Sad sign up, like right behind us, and we were all pointing at it and like going like, yes, you know. And he said, "Are you guys gonna be here tomorrow or something?" He meant like the next show or whatever.
Right.
He's like,
Oh,
and I
yeah.
can't remember his exact words, but he said, "We'll play." You know, he was kind of like, put the sign down, like, I see it. If you're gonna be here tomorrow, we'll play it. And but they didn't. And I think like, oh, man, that would have been awesome to hear Sad on Sydney night 2, like with that whole set list that they had, would have been incredible.
Stoner says speed of sound.
Oh yeah, good call.
Heard that at sound check outside Wrigley.
So here we go, right? So thank you, because for me, and this is really on behalf of my wife, she always wants to hear Sirens, right? And I
Really?
love that song
Nice.
too. Yeah. I mean, we love it. It's a very special song for our family. And they haven't played it since 2018. My wife and I went to Barcelona July 10th, 2018. They played it the next night in Madrid, and they've never played it since that night. But they sound checked it at Wrigley. They've sound checked it multiple times. So that's why I think it actually does qualify as conspicuously, because it was never one of the big ones, just on the Lightning Bolt tour maybe. But they keep thinking about it. Like they sound check it. They keep thinking about doing it, and then they just don't. And so I'm very curious about that one.
I wonder why too, because like it has. I feel like they loved playing it on the Lightning Bolt tour. It was like a single.
Mean, that's great. There's a really good opportunity for crowd sing-alongs, right? So if you think about those large Australia crowds, and if you could get 60,000 people going, you know, like,
oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, like that whole ending, and then Eddie gave this beautiful speech. If you go back and listen to August 7th, 2016, Fenway, just the most beautiful outro to Sirens, and like the speech he gave, and it was about feeling safe. And there was a line he said that was like, "We're all alone in this together," and just so beautiful. And I just don't know why it doesn't come back out, because I think it brings out like really good vibes and really good emotion, and yeah, conspicuously absent.
Yeah, there's two for me. One has got to give, because it's the one I didn't hear.
I know, right?
I don't know why that song didn't get more love. I mean, even Stone commented that for whatever reason he just didn't feel like playing it. That being Eddie, not Stone. The other one was Comes Then Goes, and I get why we didn't hear it off Gigaton, even though I was convinced second leg of that tour it was gonna come around. And Jason and I, we talked about that in our predictions for second half of that tour at the time. But I also was equally convinced that we would see it on this go round with the Dark Matter tour, and it just never showed up. And so I don't know if it's the song that will never get played, or if there just isn't enough time that has passed, or if it's just something that for Eddie is like Arc, it was just very personal. But I didn't think they'd ever play Arc, and then he went and did his solo show. So maybe if he goes around and does another solo show, we'll end up getting a song like Comes Then Goes in the same way. I don't know.
I think we get it at some point, but it feels more like a really special night where he's just kind of feeling something. But I feel like we might have had some of those, and he just didn't choose to do it. Oop, there's my mic. Let's do. Oh, actually, this is a great segue from Mick Haynes. Hunger Strike. First time in 10 years.
Yeah.
And I have not, the boots are not out yet as we're going live.
We're still waiting on those.
So, and I haven't seen any clips.
Great video on
Evil
Evil Little Goat.
Yeah. Besides Zacho's clip, I have not seen it or heard it. So my question was, is Eddie really going to sing both verses, both parts? Or like, what's the percentage of the audience that's going to fill in? Can you let us know, Jaco?
It to me, it didn't feel like it wasn't like there wasn't a lot of crowd like filling in on that song, like, and it sounded fine to me with Ed singing both parts. Like, I don't know, like yeah, I don't know, it was how can I put it, you guys with like your history with Pearl Jam, and not to get into my history because that'll be a different podcast, but I know that Chris and Mother Love Bone and all the history prior to Pearl Jam is like you guys were steeped in all of that stuff, right? So that song has a lot more meaning and stuff to you guys. I recognized when they started playing it, I was like, fuck, I haven't heard this. I haven't heard this song in I don't think ever. So, I knew it was special, and I recognized it right away. But to me, it's not a song that I listen to. Just because I basically go off the live shows. So if they haven't played it in 10 years, the odds of me seeing it was nothing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I have actually seen Eddie doing it solo, because he did it at Innings Festival 2023, and he did it with Josh, but he sang all of it. I think the reason people were really quick to say like, oh, the crowd did it, or Eddie did, like the crowd covered for Chris kind of thing, was because when Temple of the Dog toured in 2016, it was easy because you had Chris who sang the first verse,
Right.
and the crowd actually sang all of Eddie's verses. So like the call and response was there from the very beginning, but you can't do that from the very beginning when you're like, you just
can't go
start and
backwards.
expect the crowd to
All
just
right, crowd,
do it.
start the song.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that the reason why people gravitated towards saying immediately like, oh, Eddie did his part and the crowd made up for the rest, was because that's actually how it had been done with Chris. I do think it was a really classy move, because I was expecting Crown, as Jaco just said. I always expect Crown and Chloe, or rather Chloe Crown, on the last night of a tour, because it's like an homage to Andy and Mother Love Bone and everything. But instead, they did this one as an homage to Chris. First time they'd played Australia since Chris's passing. So yeah, I thought that was really classy.
Okay, let's see here. What else do I have?
Yeah, I'm reading a comment there that Laura posted. She's right. They did sing that chorus part. Yeah, that's true.
There you go, Laura.
The really high. Yeah.
John Andrews, Hunger into Immortality was a real Chris moment. That's
Oh, John.
I did not think
into
about that.
Immortality. Oh, wow.
That was
I didn't
awesome.
pick up on that either.
Yeah.
That's double.
Sometimes we read these when we're not there. We read these set lists, the morning of, when we wake up, kind of thing, and you just scan it through, like, oh, cool, great, cool.
Yeah.
Sometimes you miss the couplets. You miss
like
the
that combination
like that.
right there with Chris and Immortality. Yeah, that's awesome.
That's a really, really good point.
Good shout, John.
Yeah.
All right, let's do
similar at LA1 also, right? Where they did Off He Goes and Comeback together, and it felt like a similar kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's weird is I've seen Off He Goes 4 times this year.
This year? Wow.
Yeah. Sorry, 3 times. Once in each city that I saw them. But
awesome.
like, some people don't see that
lucky.
ever.
I love that song.
Yeah.
That's weird. Anyways, let's do some rapid fire. Rapid fire, okay? Just shoot from the hip, all right? And this could be from a show that you saw or a show that you've just heard the boot, like just favorite show.
Missoula.
Oh, favorite show?
Favorite show.
Ever?
From this year. This is all this
Oh,
year.
from this year?
All this tour, yeah.
Yeah, I would probably say like Philly Night 1.
I like that one too.
Missoula is what you said, Shihan?
I said Missoula, yeah, as one I went to.
As one that you went to.
Paul, what do you think?
Oh God, I mean, Philly Night 1 was pretty electric. I thought Ohana was pretty special too. Thought they were on fire for that show. Just I think there was something about the guests, and they were really like leaning into the people out on the sand, sand people.
Sand people.
Yeah.
I don't know. There was just something about that show that just felt so very organic to who they are and who Eddie is, and there's just a comfort level that I don't think I'd ever seen from him specifically. So,
wow, a Philly 2 from Rick Crespo.
I'm glad you said that, because I think Philly 2 was an incredible list.
Yeah.
Like an absolutely. That's when they opened with Of the Girl, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
Steven, also Philly 2.
See? Yeah.
And then we got John's going Missoula. Teresa's going Missoula.
Yes.
Stone
Like
going Auckland at 1.
Very special.
Setlist of Philly 2 was probably better, but the energy of Philly Night 1 was better for me. Just and maybe it was because people had told me that the energy would be good at those shows. But yeah, that was a banger of a show.
Awesome.
I think I agree with you. I think the set list on paper, Philly 2 seems like the more interesting show. But
Yeah.
like even on the bootleg, listening back, I go, dude, what is going on here in Philly on night one?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Vegas one.
Oh,
Yeah, that was an awesome night.
What a treat that was. I think Breath, Tremor Christ.
I had a
Um,
chance to go to that show, and that was.
I know.
Tremor Christ with Jason's sunglasses, right?
With my sunglasses.
No, with, yeah,
the
Jason's-
Elvis glasses.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Sorry, not yours, Jason Palmer's.
Yeah. I got you.
Yeah.
I got
Well,
you.
speaking of Breath, I mean, what about favorite song performance or just favorite moment from the tour?
Well, geez, like a song moment or just like general moment?
Either.
Because
Rapid
It could
Yeah,
be like
either.
just a story that happened or a moment in
yeah,
the crowd
like
or an
so
actual
so
song.
for me it would be on this Australian leg of the tour because I was filming and then Ed asked me to throw my camera up and I know he's done that before. I know he's taken people's, but that to me was like pretty
Yeah.
crazy. And then another crazy moment was when Erin, my partner, she the Vegas night one, Ed came down and gave her $500 and told her to go gambling with it, and that was a pretty crazy moment. So like those type of moments are just like, you get like really great shows and stuff, but like those moments will just like forever stick in my mind. And I don't seek those moments. Like we never have a sign saying like give us something or anything. It's just like I didn't even see Ed pointing at me and asking for my camera. Like literally, I was like looking down, trying to stick it into my pocket because I don't want to be filming the whole time either.
Right.
And yeah, like people tap me on the shoulder and they're like, "Hey, like Ed wants you to throw up your phone or whatever." And I was just like completely like, "What the hell's going on right now?" But
Screen
like,
protector, be damned. Here we go.
yeah, and on the one hand, I want to be like, it's funny. Like I'm gonna quickly go on a little bit here. I said to Erin once, we were in Prague. We were talking about if we ever had to meet the band members, and I said to her, like, I literally in life have no one that I feel like I don't have like celebrities or something that I ever think about like wanting to meet or anything like that. I'm weird in that way, maybe. Like I don't have like this dream girl that's in a movie or anything like that, or anything like that. And I said to her, like, if we ever met the band, to me, I actually think like I always think about like being a celebrity would be such a hard life to live because you like would just have no privacy. So I actually always feel sorry for people that are celebrities. I would never want to bug them or anything like that. And just literally like my words weren't cold. Like an hour later, we're walking up and we see Mike standing there, and none of them saw Mike. We were walking up to this site, and it was just a pure body reaction. I just like immediately like felt like flustered and stuff. So
You got the flashes.
so
You got
I
the
have
hot
this
flashes.
part of I have this part of my brain that says this is just another human being. They're just like they poop and they pee and they're just like us. But then there's another part of me, like when Ed throws your phone back, you're just like, what the fuck just happened? And like for 4 days, you're just like thinking about like that moment, and you kind of start to think like, why me? Like why me? There's so many other people that are way more deserving.
Because you're tall and have a beard, Jaco.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
That's it.
Also, when he gave the phone back to you, my first thing would be like, don't accidentally hit the delete button.
Yeah.
God. Yeah.
I was just
How'd you
happy that the
freaking-
phone was unlocked, so yeah.
Okay, there you go. There you go.
I
Yeah,
think
that's
that was such a beautiful moment, Jaco, because like I think it was actually Ed saying like, "Hey, I've seen you a lot, and you've been here, and you've been bringing your positive energy, and I
Mhm.
appreciate you." And for all of the myths that have been out there about like, oh, the band hates it when it's the same people up there, like
Yeah.
I think he dispelled it like right there, right? And
I agree
he
with
said
you, and
something too, right? He said thank you, and like, did you figure out what the other thing?
Yeah,
was?
like I think he said like it was like something like thank you, and he
Be
say you be good now or something like that. But I do think like Ed. So one thing I've noticed about the band is like they're very well aware of what's going on. Little things, and we won't get into it right now, but they're very aware of what's going on amongst their fans. It's almost like I feel like they're observing us at like have a profile in a group and blah blah blah. They know what's going on. I think when Ed and Ed is just, even since he was very young, I don't know if he consciously does this, but he's like way ahead of his time. Like he has a wisdom and stuff to him that I don't see in a lot of other artists. But I think when Ed recorded that message and he said like thank you, I don't think he was saying it to me. Like I just represent a fan, like I think he knew
Interesting.
that everyone was going to watch that video. Do you know what I mean? And I think that he might even have known that I was evil little goat or whatever, and that people would probably see that video. And I think you're right that Ed is saying thank you to the fans who do end up, like, I mean, it's an investment not an investment because the return is not a financial return, but like it is an investment. We saw 22 shows this year. It's a lot of money that you spend on shows. And I think when you're someone up there, like you'd have mixed feelings about that because you wouldn't want people to waste their money. There's other things in life to do, but the way that I think you also recognize, because they all had idols when they were young guys, they had bands that they loved and that they would have wanted to see for the rest of their life. And I think they recognize that there are people there that have the ability and means, and they're representative of all their fans. There are people who can't go to all the shows, and I constantly think about those people too. They just can't. They're parents, like they have to do stuff. They've got responsibilities. Aaron and I don't have kids, so we just pack up and leave whenever we want. But I think he was saying thank you to those who are dedicated and who will be at the shows in Australia and in the States and everywhere, right? Like, and that do put in the time, because I do think that at the end of the day, we do build value. Like to get on the rail, that's a coveted spot, and anyone can get it. Like, again, I want to stress that you just have to put in the time. It's very simple and it's fun times. But it is coveted, and I think that brings value to the show. Like those people at the front, they are like fully in on the shows. They set the tone for like how the crowd's gonna act. Like, if you have a rail that's like not feeling the energy and stuff, like you look back sometimes and you see it throughout the rest of the crowd, or at least it feels like that. So I think Ed was saying thank you. Yeah, I agree with you.
He did make mention of that, Jaco, at Ohana. I can't remember which night it was, but he did. He kind of pointed at Elijah and a couple other people that are down. I think Crystal as well, actually. They were down on the rail and said, "I've seen you guys." Yep. Some people that go to a lot. I think it was actually before they played Grammy. You've played. You've been at all these shows. You put in the effort. We see you. We recognize you. We thank you. And like you sometimes you go to a show because you want to tick a box. Well, here's a little thank you for ticking all those boxes yourself, something like that. And so this is just another example of that. Yeah. I think you're right. I think he was saying thank you through the vessel of you to the rest of us.
And a wise, sentient awareness of the Pearl Jam stat tracker, apparently.
Shihan is buffering for some reason. Yeah. There he is. He's back.
Well, now that he's back,
I know.
Favorite gig poster? Or non-poster piece of merchandise, and/or what do you think?
Oh,
no, one at a time. I got graphics here.
Okay. Which one? Okay, gig poster.
Poster.
Okay. My favorite gig poster. I'm gonna have to go with LA1. I know it's not like
the peacock.
Popular one's the peacock. I love it. The peacock sitting on top of the forum. I think it's beautiful.
I liked it.
Yeah. Me, what was it? Sydney? Is it Sydney Night 1? The cricket poster, that one to me.
Yeah, that was a nice one.
I initially I'm a graphic designer, web designer. Initially, I didn't like it, stylistically, I didn't necessarily like it, but it's Pearl Jam and cricket. And I play cricket to this. Well, I haven't played the last 2 years, but I'm from South Africa, so I play cricket.
Oh, wow.
And I love cricket. So when they made a post, like how could you ever expect Pearl Jam to do a cricket poster? Like they do baseball posters all the time. So when I saw that poster, I was just like, I don't care. I'm not going to get too picky about the details here. I just love that poster. Yeah.
Paul, which one was your favorite from this year?
I don't know if I have. I mean, obviously the owl, or not the owl, the peacock in LA was big because we were there, and I always wonder when I look at the poster, you're kind of curious, what are you going to get? You know what I mean? And I made a bold move this year. There's actually a poster I did not buy from a show that I went to. It is now the only show poster that I don't own of all the shows I've been to. It was just a conscious decision in the moment that I was like, you know what? I don't see myself putting this up anywhere ever. It's like, I'm just not going to buy this one. I'm not going to buy this one. And I thought, what, like 3 days later, would I be regretting it? Would I have, FOMO? I still don't.
It's not,
with all
it's
due
not one of my
respect to
favorites.
these gentlemen whom I adore deeply.
You know what's interesting?
They have enough of my money.
The same artist who did that poster did the skate deck. I think the art looked way better than the skate deck, personally.
Mhm.
I'm gonna go one of the Chicago posters. It's the couple dancing with the skull.
Oh yeah, that was
That's
good.
I
cool.
love that poster. It's
Yeah.
so
Is that Ben Orton?
classic to me.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Classic.
Yeah,
poster.
visually speaking, that would be my favorite poster. Like, because it's kind of what was it, like Frank Sinatra or someone?
Yeah,
Like, there's
I
like
dug it.
when
It was
people
good.
like, yeah, but yeah, that's a nice one too. Yeah,
I'll give an honorable mention, and that's the second night in Seattle, where you've got basically the 10 thing, and they're all grabbing the sphere, sphere,
It's a nice one.
the space needle,
Space needle,
the
yeah.
arms. I thought that was kind of cool.
I like that one too. Yeah.
All right, let's do what Paul said a moment ago, and that is favorite piece of merchandise that's not a poster. Just any kind of trinket or shirt or hat, anything that jumps off. You're like, that was so cool. They did that.
Tokens.
I'm going to go first.
Tokens.
Oh, sorry.
Red mosquito shirt. All right.
Red mosquito.
I'm gonna say, in general, the skate deck idea is kind of fun. I think that's very fun.
yeah, I love the skate decks. We've been getting them at every show. I
Nice.
can't think of anything now that, like, I mean, when they did the basketballs, when I first saw the basketball, I was like, oh, that's gonna be good. I'm not into basketball, but I kind of was like, yeah, that would be. Oh, yeah, I guess that's not official merch. But Ed threw to one of the guys in the pit. He threw a rugby ball that was like
Oh, cool.
signed by the whole
Oh,
band.
yeah,
I thought that was pretty cool. But I just realized that's not merch.
By the way, shout out to Chrissy for making those stickers for each show.
Oh yeah, she's
You're out there, Chrissy.
fantastic.
For
Those are amazing.
sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Oh wait, the real Aussie leather footies? Was that a thing? What is that?
Yeah, like I think they're talking about footballs. Maybe they did have them as merch. I didn't
Wow.
notice.
I didn't see those.
Yeah.
I saw the jerseys, the like the kit, you know.
It's funny that
Oh.
they didn't do a cricket bat or something.
Cricket bat. Amazing.
Cricket- Well, I mean,
So
yeah,
we had a cricket bat in so one of the girls from Australia, Nick, she went and bought a cricket bat for us. So I know how to play cricket, and a bunch of Aussies knew how to play cricket, but we played like a form of cricket called French cricket, which is like very easy to play. It's like very inclusive.
It's very arrogant.
No, it's very it's very
Sorry,
it's
French joke.
It's like well, okay, but yeah, like it's a weird form of cricket. That's why they call it French cricket. But anyway, like but we started playing that at like before the shows, and it was really fun. Like everyone loved it. So we actually were like, yeah, they would be nice if we could like get that bat like signed or something. But anyway, we'll have it on some other tours, because people were like, yeah, we
Cool.
got to bring the bat to the next tour.
Yeah, exactly. Is the TSA or the equivalent going to allow us to have it on the plane?
Yeah, hopefully.
How about
They're
the
not
dog
metal.
leash? How did
Yeah,
it take
that
them
was cool.
34 years to come up with the dog leash idea?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
a winner.
I
actually.
I
He
love
just
it.
was on top of his stuff.
I love that one.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
how
you know
about
we
what?
this?
bought
In
a
terms of
couple
the
of
hats too, special shout out to the Missoula hats.
Oh man. the
Oh
Missoula
yeah, with
hat,
the
yeah.
Those
fish and
hats
the.
are awesome.
Yeah.
Those are the best hats, I think. I agree with
Yeah.
you. All right.
So you know, a
last-
funny story about that hat, just real quick. Shion, because I know you got one of them, and I did not buy one. And then a buddy of mine, Jason Brown, he bought one, and he came over and he said, "Here, do you want one of these hats?" And I said, "No, I don't want it." He's like, "Well, I've already bought it for you." And I was like, "Okay, I'll take
Okay.
it." And
Oh,
then
you want it now.
afterwards, like it was just like blew up. Everyone's like, "Oh man, you got that hat." So yeah, it's interesting.
I got offered like $200 for it, and then I was like tempted. And then
It's
Oh,
funny
man.
how
I
some
kept
that
it.
happens.
And I usually can't pull off a flat brim, but I just don't want to let go of that hat.
You're a
Yeah.
dad hat guy. You're a
Yeah,
total dad
I
hat
totally
guy.
am. Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Concert
Okay,
pants
last
hat
rapid
here.
fire. And these weren't really that rapid, but
Yeah.
Let's make this one rapid.
here we go. Greatest FOMO concert. You did 22 out of the 37, Yaku. Shihan went to what, 7
Nine.
or 8? 9? I went to 6. Paul went to 3.
Yes, 3.
Okay, so we've all missed something.
Yeah.
So what was the show? The one show you missed the most?
The show where they played Grammy and
Ohana 2.
yeah, was it Ohana 2? Yeah,
Yes, that was
Grammy
one
and
of the
Big
3
One.
I went to.
Yeah.
22, and I got the one you want.
Shihan.
Melbourne won.
Mm.
I wanted that energy. Like all I could hear about was the energy, and yeah, I posted about it. 60,000 people is 4 times as much as the Austin show was.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
yeah, I think everything Yako said about it, like it was a somewhat of a greatest hits show, but it was a greatest sing along show. So 60,000 sing along, you know, I would have loved to hear felt it, not heard it, but felt it. Yeah.
Paul, what do you think?
Oh, for sure, 60,000 people. Either that or any of the shows we got to give.
So Vancouver, or was it Auckland, right? Or is that
Yeah.
what was it?
Yeah. No, it was
Auckland or
Gold Coast,
Melbourne?
I think, right?
Oh, Gold Coast. That's right.
Yeah, I think Gold Coast got to give.
I'm gonna say either Melbourne won or Philly won. Melbourne won because everything you just said, and the fact that I do want to see a show outside of these borders one day because it's just a different thing. But also Philly won not only because of what that energy was, but because I've tried to make a point of seeing them in their quasi home cities, their homes away from home. You got to see them in Seattle. Okay, box ticked. You got to see them in Chicago. Ticked. San Diego, LA, New York, Boston, all those places. In Philadelphia, I've seen them once, but it was like 23 years ago. It was like the 05 tour, which is a great show, but I've kind of forgotten some of it because it's been so long. And so that plus what Yaku was saying about how great the energy was and hearing it on the booth, like fuck. But also the MSG shows because it's the Garden. You can't
Those were
you can't knock
good.
the Garden. Oh, I want to give a special shout out to pardon me, MSG2 poster, the gorilla hand.
Holding the
Yeah,
subway
Yeah, I
car.
love that poster.
I
Holding
love
the
that
holding
poster.
the
I thought about
train or
giving that
whatever.
The subway
Yeah.
car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So cool.
That's a monk.
That one was awesome. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Let's jump to some trivia between you two gentlemen, okay?
Trivia.
Oh boy.
Trivia.
Oh my gosh.
No.
I
Trivia
did not know
time.
that was happening.
Real quick.
It's just on our way out.
Oh no.
You ready? All right. Most played opener.
Oh, must be released. No.
Shihan, do you agree?
Why go?
Incorrect. It was released 6 times.
Oh.
Second most played opener. They're not all
Oh,
like this, by the way. It's not Why Go.
it can't be Garden, but I feel like they opened with Garden a couple times.
A few of them, yeah. Usually, I mean, on another tour, it would have been released in Long Road.
Garden.
So what's your
Garden,
final answer?
4.
Yeah,
Well,
Garden.
I just said it. 2 songs tied for most played. What are they and how many shows were they performed at?
Alive.
2 songs from most played, but it has to be like probably given
Alive and
given
Better.
to fly and not given to fly even flow for sure. They probably played that at every show, right?
Shihan, what did you say?
Alive.
And
That's one.
And I'll go with Even Flow.
I've already
Okay.
mentioned
Given
this
to
song
Fly-
before.
Given to fly, they played at every show. I felt
I
like.
said it was beautiful.
the answer is Alive and Wreckage. Both
Right.
songs
Oh,
played at
okay.
all 37.
Yeah.
Nice.
Even Flow missed the show. I want to say it was
Really?
either Ohana or I think it was Ohana 1. They didn't play it, or it was one of the ending shows.
Speaking of
Okay.
not playing it, only 4 songs from Lightning Bolt were played in 2024. Can
Wow.
you name them? Can you
Okay.
name them?
Mind Your Manners.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Pendulum.
Pendulum, yeah.
One was played at the encore of Ohana.
Oh, 7 o'clock? No,
That's
That's
Gigaton.
Gigaton.
Gigaton, sorry, yeah.
Future Days.
Well,
You and John got that. Yeah.
Yeah, Ron's just it's jumping in.
Ron's just jumping in. He's like, I
Ron
got this,
jumping
guys.
in with a lightning,
Lightning
bolt.
bolt, the title track.
That's
All
right. They
right.
did Lightning Bolt like one of the
It
fourth
was
show
earlier.
or something, right?
Yeah. Only 5 songs from binaural were played in 2024. Can you name them?
I know they did Breaker Fall,
It's 1,
Light Years.
2.
You mentioned one earlier. Is that they opened with it?
Of the Girl. Thank you.
Yeah.
3. 2
Um,
more.
did they do Grievance? No. Oh, of course, Missoula. Nothing as it seems.
One more. Thank you, Ron.
Yeah, thank you for that.
One more. I think the last time they played it before that was in Denver.
Thin Air.
There you go.
Thank you.
Wow.
There you go.
Denver hint helped.
Denver. Dark Matter and 10 were the albums played the most at 24% and 20% respectively. Which album was played the third most?
I think Yakov, you were on.
Yield?
Yep,
No.
there it
Yako's
is.
correct.
Nice.
Yield.
I'm living too
Yield.
much in Australia, like in the Australia tour. I've got to get out of that one.
Okay, this is the last one. A total of 3 fans, to my knowledge, I'll probably get corrected. A total of 3 fans were invited on stage to perform with the band this year. Can you name the cities in which this happened and what song they performed?
Okay. Won't tell Chicago.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The girl. What was
Abby?
her name? Abby?
Abby,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Then there was the guy in New
Rockin'
Zealand.
in the free world, yeah.
Yeah, rocking. Yeah.
Mhm.
Auckland. Okay.
I don't know what his name was.
Made famous by your video.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the last gentleman is a guy. It was in Europe, if you recall.
Okay. Yeah. We didn't do Europe. So.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
It was in Spain.
Oh.
Oh,
Wait a minute. Yeah, yeah, thank you. He has to play Ledbetter on guitar.
That's yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
Barcelona.
All right. Before we get out of here, in the there you go, Ron's. Yeah, they could play.
Dude could play. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I think this is Abby. Oh, hey, Abby. Montel. There she is.
Nicely done. Nicely
Rick
done.
is correcting me. He's saying it's Barcelona. It may
That's
have
what
been
I said. Barcelona.
That
Oh,
is what
sorry.
Paul said,
Sorry.
yeah.
Sorry.
You
My
said
mind was thinking.
Spain, so
Yeah. But in my head,
You're
I was
right.
thinking Madrid, and I overthought myself. All right. Last but not least, 2025 Pearl Jam predictions. What do you
Holy
gentlemen
moly.
have? What's it going to be? Can be one bold prediction.
that we're gonna get more dates.
Not very bold.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like they said they recorded some songs in Australia, so who knows, eh?
Ooh.
Do you think it's too early?
I would.
I
love to
think
find out
that
more
was
about
a hoax.
Rumor? You think so?
Well, okay, hold on. I found out more about that.
Please.
Yes. So but I hesitate to say it in public places because But,
Hurry yourself out there, Shihan.
Okay, so what you had heard, so basically what happened was somebody who worked at a recording studio went to a radio station and said Pearl Jam came in and recorded music, right? The person on the radio station said one of the song's names was Pressure Point. And then something was later on deemed to be a hoax, deemed to be a joke. What was the joke was that the song was called Pressure Point. And that this is because the radio station DJ or something was a previous football star and his nickname was Pressure Point or something. So everyone in Australia got that joke. The rest of us didn't. And so when something had been taken back as a joke, I believe it was actually just the title Pressure Point and not the fact that Pearl Jam actually went into a recording studio.
So here's my
That's
question.
just where I'm at with a lot of other stuff.
Here's my question to you. There is audio of Stone saying, "Hey, we recorded a new song. It's called Pressure Point." Which, when I heard it, I go, "That's got to be AI. Someone's using an AI bit to make that thing." That's the only place I ever heard the phrase "pressure point" before. Was this?
I think they got him to do that, but that's what was a hoax.
You
Because
the
the guy's,
Really?
the guy's
That's
a picture with
elaborate.
Stone too, right? The guy's a
the
picture
guy,
with
yes.
Stone. And literally the guy's nickname, the footballer's nickname, is Pressure Point.
Do you think they convinced Stone to be in on a joke?
I
Okay,
doubt that.
I mean, like, I guess could go either way. If it react response Stone, sure. Grammy Stone, sure.
Grammy Stone? Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
What do
a
you-
very
what do
cynical
you-
person, so
What do
I
you
don't know
think's
about
going to happen in 2025?
Me?
Yeah, Jason, what do you think?
I'll say this. There is literally only 1 year in Pearl Jam's existence where they did not play at least one concert to an audience. 1 year.
Yeah.
2017. The only time they did anything was the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Every other year, there's at least one, or if not two, performances. I think 99, or maybe it was 01, they played Mountain View for the Bridge Benefit. So that was that, right? No tour. But that counts. So that stands to reason. Plus, the forums and the internets and, there's dates and
You
there's
guys
cities.
watched
Jason thinks they're going to do a residency at the Sphere in Vegas. That's
Were
No,
there-
I absolutely
no, I don't think they would. But would there? But maybe now with all the visuals and stuff that they're doing, like, did you guys watch any live feeds of the Australia shows, or did you just basically, because of the time zone and stuff, you weren't able to do it? Like, none of you guys watched any live feeds?
No.
I didn't.
Okay.
No.
So one thing I will then tell you guys, because I thought that maybe you guys knew this, but at more than one show, Ed mentioned how much he loved being in Australia, and that they wanted to go back like right away.
And that he's
Like,
put a
as
hold
soon
on
as they
he's put
basically
a hold
could.
on the venues, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And he did it at multiple shows. And the other thing about like I said, the energy was incredible, and I would not be surprised with everything that was happening in the States and stuff. Plus, like, I know they've been to Australia before, but like for me, for example, when I went to Australia, I've always had this idea of Australia in my head. And I mean, I come from a country that's weird, like South Africa, where people don't know what it's like living there. But I always thought Australia was this like sort of backwards type of place. When I was super, super impressed with like you see what a first world society looks like when you go there. Like this whole
Wow.
yes, like like the image that we have of the States and like this like first world country, but then when you're actually down on the ground and you see like in New York, it's just filthy and there's just garbage everywhere and rats running around and tons of homelessness and stuff. You go to Australia, everything works, everything is perfect, everyone is happy. Now I know I have a naive touristy like rose-colored glasses. But Ed commented about that too. He actually said at one of the shows, he's like, I haven't seen one. He said, I saw one homeless guy, and I think he was paid to sit on the street just to like pretend to be a homeless guy.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, we all know like Ed loves surfing, and I myself grew up surfing too. And Australia is a fantastic place for surfing. There's obviously like the popular beaches that are super crowded, but they showed in some of the visuals some surf spots that are like epic surf spots. And like some of my friends and stuff that we talked to on the line showed me photos of some of the surfs. That is a mecca for surfing. So I think that Ed is also now getting to a point where like he had this, with everything that happened in the States and the elections and all of that stuff, and like again being like the rug pulled out underneath them, and then Australia was there to catch him and like kind of be like, hey, you've got friends here, you've got your buddies that you can surf with, and everyone loves you here. I definitely think I would not be surprised if they recorded music while they were down there. Honestly, I would not be surprised. Like just the energy that those guys had, I can see them going with buddies into some sort of a little recording studio or something and banging off 2 or 3 songs while they were there. That's
my
my
prediction is they bang off 2 or 3 songs on the State of Love and Trust podcast.
Awesome.
No, that's a pipe dream. That's not a prediction. Here's a prediction for you though. I remember New Zealand and I remember Australia in 1995, and it was accompanied by Southeast Asia. So what do we think? What do we think?
Oh man, go back to
could be
Singapore
cool.
for the first time in 30
When
years.
I missed them in Singapore, I got to make
That would
this
be
happen.
awesome.
That'd be interesting. I saw something flash on the bottom about the Seattle residency, and I think I would put high predictability or high probability rather on that one, because I do remember being at the Climate Pledge Arena this year, and Eddie was talking about how it was a beautiful venue, like why did it take them so long to play here? And then he was talking about the management there and that they said they could come back and play, and he said, and we should play here. And then again, and then again, and then again. And he said it like for like 5 times, and like in my head it just clicked. It was like, oh, the residency. Like that's what that is. That's what he's saying. They're gonna play there again and again.
I wonder
and again,
if
and again.
if they were to do that though, they'd have to do it. That's hard because you've got the Kraken in there, and you've got is it the Mystic, the WNBA team? So you've got two teams in there that you'd have to organize dates around.
Schedule around, yeah.
That would be very difficult to do. If you're because they're not playing 5 nights in a row. They're going to play if they played 5 nights. They're going to play 5 nights
off
over 10 days. That's a long time. So,
but Cruz will take down and put back up in a day if they need to do that.
I think
expensive though.
Didn't that happen at one of the basketball like arenas in Toronto, or like didn't that happen at one of the Canadian shows where there was a playoffs game in between the Pearl Jam shows or something?
I don't recall.
Might have been. I forget.
I might be making this up, but I'll try and look it up. It might have been.
I love. Too. I think that I feel like the fucking downer. I think that Ed is very much a romantic, and I think he says some stuff that he is hopeful for. So if I was a betting man, I would not bet that there was anything recorded, and I would not bet that Seattle happens. However, I want to be very, very, very wrong, because the idealist in me says, yeah, they can do whatever the hell they want. Go for it. Pull the whole Vitalogy recording thing and just knock off in a city every few weeks and record a couple of new songs, like they did in New Orleans and they did in Atlanta, they did in Seattle for that record. So maybe, I mean, they don't like to repeat things. Each record is recorded in a different way from the previous one. So maybe they just want to use the energy that you were talking about, Jaco, that they were feeling down there. And either if it's just demos, maybe it's just demos. I don't know. I love the idea.
Well, yeah, for sure.
I love the idea. And I think the Seattle residency thing is a great idea, but they have to make sure that they can get the building.
Yeah.
So what do you think of a South America tour? Like, what are the chances of that happening next year?
That's a very good prediction.
I think it's a great idea. I think they should absolutely do it. I mean, they're due. It's been what, 10 years? 2015?
That's 2015, yeah.
Has it been that long? Holy crap.
It'll be 10 by next year, yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
That will be epic for the folks of that continent.
Yes.
Right. Because now they've experienced moving the production, not just to Europe, right, but to Australia as well. There's obviously a lot of investment that's gone into the screens and everything else that they've done, right? So why not take it all the way across the globe? Why not hit another continent?
Hope they do.
I could see that. Now they have experience with the bigger stadiums, right? I mean, I imagine South America is going to be similar to Australia.
Yeah, like those, Maracanã in Rio is a massive stadium, and they sell that out.
Mm-hmm.
We've been there twice. The incredible energy too at that show, and then we saw them in Sao Paulo, and they played at a festival there, which was also incredible energy, because it was like it's just a ton of people there, and they were playing like crowd favorites. But yeah,
that'd be great.
Well,
we shall see.
We won't know. Some people in this world think that we're going to have information later this week. I don't know if that's
we'll see.
Going to be a thing, but we'll find out. And if the people that live on the forums have any more information they want to bestow upon us, that'd be nice.
Southeast Asia.
It's not. We're all going to Singapore. It's not real until it's real. So take the rumors with a grain of salt. But some of those folks have good track records. I don't know. Maybe you want to be in Atlanta in May. I don't know. I'm just talking out of my head.
You're welcome, Zach.
Yeah. What did Zach say?
One of the comments. Oh, he's just saying something.
Oh, thank you for replying to my Instagram message, Evil Little Goat, about getting on the rail. I was 4 people to your right, on the rail,
Wow.
Sydney night 2. You took a photo of my black sign, and Ed pointed it out. Man of the people, Yaku.
Nice.
You'll have to see it.
Very nice.
And then John in the comments there, I met him on this tour. Awesome guy.
John Andrews?
Yeah.
Right on.
You guys should get him on this podcast. He'll
Okay.
talk your ear off.
Definitely. So a lot of the photos that I collaborated on were with John.
Oh, no
Yeah.
kidding.
From
Yeah,
like
a great guy.
the entire New Zealand Australia run. I mean, even many shows prior to that. We somehow
There's Kim.
were two ships passing that, like, you know, never met in person.
Right.
But yeah, I feel like he's become one of my best Pearl Jam friends here.
Yeah.
Well, we're 90 minutes in, boys, and you know, we can always talk. But, you know, the people trying to go to bed on the East Coast, as is Shihan on the Central Coast.
True story.
Thank you both for coming on and talking 2024 Dark Matter Tour.
Yeah.
I think there's
Beautiful
a decent chance we might cross paths in about 5 months. We shall see soon enough.
Hopefully.
Yaku
Gents.
and Shihan, thank you, gents.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
All right, we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah. Peace.
All right, guys. Cheers.
All right, Paul. Well, let's remind the folks one last time that if they are watching here on YouTube, to like and subscribe to the channel and to the video in the other order. Bell for notifications. If they are listening after the fact, audio on demand, old school. What should they do, Paul?
Rate, review, subscribe on your preferred podcast platform of choice. Feed the reindeer algorithm. It's hungry this time of year. 'Tis the season.
I wish I had one of those jingle bell thingies, like those little.
Yeah,
You know,
I should
ding,
get
ding.
one on the show.
We might have a very Christmassy themed show coming up. It is December, though. It is the time to give, and what better time or place to give than Toys for Tots? They are a great organization that helps kids around this country have a great Christmas, a great Hanukkah, and you could help by donating a few bucks. Scan that code on the screen, you guys. Scan that code. Send a few bucks in. If you spend in $5 or more, you will get stickers and pins.
Stickers. Lots and
Paul's
lots
throwing
and
them
lots
around.
and lots of stickers.
The greatest donator gets the Eddie Vedder mystery pack. It is Eddie Vedder's birthday month, so there you go. If you want to support this show, you can always join our Patreon. We've got a great Discord community. Some of those guys were and gals were in here tonight in the chat, and a lot of extra cool content. And we got giveaways. This month's giveaway, Paul. Get all my props here. It's the Dark Matter. It's this exact copy. It's the Dark Matter. It's the Waiting for Stevie and Wreckage Live 12-inch from Record Store Day Black Friday. This could be yours if you're the greatest. I'm sorry, if you're the Patreon member of the month, randomly selected, and we'll throw in the old Dark Matter slip mat as well.
That infidelity to fidelity.
Love to see it. And one last bit of housekeeping. If you want to support the show even more, brand new online shop, all kinds of cool new merch. Some of it has the old designs, like that Vitalogy thing or the 2000 Bootlegs tour thing. And some have these cool new logos, the disco bomb and the full grunge jacket, all kinds of fun stuff. So scan that code and hop on in there and buy a shirt. It helps us reinvest in the great content for you out there. So go ahead and do that if you'd like. Otherwise, we appreciate you all for being here.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next week. And by the way, next week, we're talking with just this gentleman right here, Jordan Albertson. Jordan Albertson directed Boom, the documentary about the Sonics, the Seattle punk band. Very excited to talk to him. Paul, you know who was in that documentary?
I think luminary of the Pearl Jam community.
Mike McCready, Kim Thiel, Nancy Wilson, Mark Arm.
Luminaries,
all kinds of people talking about the Sonics. So we're going to talk to Jordan Albertson, the director, next week. Come back and find us then. Until then, you've been listening to or watching live
The State of Love and Trust.
Thanks, everybody.